Hello, welcome to Recapping with Delora
and Ashley.
Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Recapping Podcast.
Also, comment, rate, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the things.
We would love to hear your ratings of the movies and shows we review.
Email us your audio file to recappingpodcast@gmail.com and we will play it during the show.
Or DM us on Instagram and we will post and read it on air.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
Delora, we are back, girl. New recap, new week. What's going on with you?
Just living my life like it's golden, Ashley.
Living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden, golden. You know, we probably just need to get like a singing jingle at this point that me and Delora do. We know you guys are anticipating it after all the singing we do week in and week out. You're welcome.
I should have said money, though. Money. Money is pretty hard to be. My favorite part, really quick. Shake a little ass. Sorry.
That's making the final cut. All right. This week's recap, friends, Recap Nation, is Apple TV Plus original series Loot. 10 half-hour episodes premiered on June 24th and dropped weekly, which, yes, I did watch every single episode every week. I've become so loyal to some of these shows.
Wow.
It's already been renewed for season 2. That announcement came out in July. So it's exciting to see what's going to happen next. But let's get into this first season. Quick summary. After divorcing her husband of 20 years, Molly Novak must figure out what to do with her $87 billion settlement. She decides to re-engage with her charitable foundation and reconnect with the real world, finding herself along the way. Cast. Maya Rudolph, who also serves as executive producer, is Molly. MJ Rodriguez is Sophia.
Mother.
Joachim Booster is Nicholas. Adam Scott is John. Ron Funches is Howard. Nate Faxon is Arthur. Stephanie Stiles is Ainsley. Megan Faye is Rhonda. Dylan Galula is Haley, and Olivier Martinez is Jean-Pierre. Reviews. Rotten Tomatoes, 83% critic score, 55% audience score. I question that audience score.
I was really surprised.
I think that something happened because I don't remember that being the case when this series was out and really running. 78% Google. Delora, what is your grade for this first season of Loot?
My grade for this series is a B+. There were so many one-liners that I got so many giggles from. It was a lot of fun. And as you know, I love watching things that show me rich life. You know what I mean? Like the yachts and the house and the chandeliers and the purses. I loved all of it, visually speaking. And Maya Rudolph is such a gem. Like, she is so funny. So funny. I think the issue I have, this sounds very shallow and it's coming to me now and not a part of my original notes. I wish there were a little bit more eye candy in the show.
Interesting.
Because, you know, I guess it makes sense in terms of her husband being that geeky guy turned billionaire, right? But even for the average Joe,
did nothing for you.
Nothing.
This was my gripe with Friends. This is why I was never a fan of Friends. There was nobody in that cast.
Not even Joey?
No. No one in that cast was attractive to me. So
I sound so shallow. But overall, it was a lot of fun. And important lessons. I mean, it's really important to know yourself and take up space. And I think those are important lessons that are discussed along with other things that we'll definitely get into that I appreciated. But my MVP of this series is definitely Nicholas. I will say that.
Nicholas had a dream job for many. My grade for this is an A-. I loved this series. It was one that I had on my watch list that I could not wait to get into because I really wanted to see what they were going to do with this. This is loosely based on Jeff Bezos and his divorce from his wife, Mackenzie.
Yes.
So I was really curious as to how they were going to play this out. I love Maya Rudolph. I love the inclusion of Minnie Riperton, her mother's music in some of these episodes. I thought that was beautiful as a tribute to her mom. And in general, the story was compelling to me. This woman with all this money, still trying to figure out purpose, still trying to figure out what life post, being wrapped up in the world of this man looked like. So I was really intrigued by that. But unfortunately, even though this is one of my hidden gems, the minus in my A- comes from the portrayal of one of the only Black female characters on this show. And the wildly stereotypical behavior that she displayed did not thrill me, did not move me.
It was a lot.
Upset me.
It was aggressive.
Upset me. So it got an A- for that reason. Otherwise, I really enjoyed the ride of this series, and based on the cliffhanger we're going to get into, I'm curious to see where we're going to go next. So, spoiler alert, let's get into the good, as I call it, of this series. And let's talk shop, Delora. Let's talk about some things. All right. Episode 1, living that billionaire's life, baby. Molly is celebrating her 45th birthday, living it up with her big tech hubby, John, on her brand new yacht. One of the pools was apparently so small, in her opinion, that it was going to be for the dogs. I mean, heated stools at the bar, just all the ambiance and luxury you would expect from that status. Unfortunately, she finds out at her party that John is stooping his preschool age assistant. I believe she was his assistant, Haley. And I call her preschool because there were so many nods to the First Wives Club in this series to me.
Love.
And Goldie Hawn.
That one too.
We do. I was thinking about that recently because I just watched it and I was like, why have we not recapped as a throwback the First Wives Club?
Another throwback, by the way, and this is on the heels of our Devil Wears Prada. Death Becomes Her.
Yeah. You talk about Meryl Streep. Listen. Yes. Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn together, plus Bruce Willis as
that
the
part
villainous, going back and forth husband. Yes. Everything. So the reason why I say preschool is because that's how Goldie Hawn described the woman that her husband went off with. So after 20 years of marriage, Molly found this man's assistant in his closet. Like, that was so brutal to me, the way that scene played out. Side note, Seal is popping up a lot lately. I didn't think about it at the time when I first watched the series, but he was in Me Time. He was in this. Like, Seal's getting some checks.
I love the cameos of this show. It had me chuckling, especially David Chang, like, so random, and I loved every minute of it.
Her disrespect with having this man heat up a burrito after he made her a multi-course meal and a side of Pringles. I just could not get over it because, a chef is my dream. That is my dream.
Girl, that's the goal. But we have big billionaires who put ketchup on steaks and
now see, I was told back in the day of how disrespectful it was that I just did A1. I have never denigrated a steak with ketchup a day in my life. Never. And I don't even do steak sauce anymore. You're welcome, chefs. You're welcome. So Molly went off and took off in one of those Skittle colored Lambos. Delora, she got half in this divorce settlement, $87 billion. When you're that rich, does it even matter to lose half in a divorce?
As a person who currently does not have $87 billion yet, I'll just say that.
Okay.
Putting it on the mic, putting it out in the universe. I would say, no, it shouldn't matter. But someone like him would absolutely feel it for sure.
I just say no one's wanting for anything. When you're in the billionaires club, unless you somehow are insane or just inept or decide to give away all your money, there's no way you can blow through $1 billion in a lifetime, right?
No, not with the amount of interest you're gaining on a regular basis.
You're making millions just sitting on your ass. So
literally,
it would make no sense to quabble over this, which they didn't show that he did, but he's going to be passive aggressive throughout the rest of the series
because he's a bitch.
That's facts. That's facts. Molly tried drowning her sorrows by traveling and partying with her assistant, Nicholas, until she gets a call from Sophia, the executive director from her charity foundation she was unaware of that started 7 years ago. Delora, Sophia called Molly into the office at 9 a.m. to essentially reprimand her for her behavior, as she said it reflects poorly on the foundation. Was she overstepping?
No. I don't think so. Now, one could say if it were a man, I don't think Sophia would have had the audacity. I don't.
I think the exact same thing. I literally agree that her tone, her behavior may have been a little bit different if Molly were a man. But at the same time, Sophia has ovaries of steel, because
yes,
who speaks to the head of their foundation, the money, like this? Nobody. But especially when you're a charity.
Her character, right?
Is definitely indicative of the way her character is throughout this series. You are correct. She's not going to shy away from going toe to toe with Molly, giving her opinion strongly, and basically showing that she cares more about the intention and their projects and their priorities in terms of helping people than about anything else. And that's admirable, because you would want somebody like that leading your foundation.
I would say so. But I will say that I appreciated Sophia's boundaries with Molly, because apparently Molly doesn't have any.
Well, it's a double-edged sword with bringing her in, because Molly decides to get more involved in the charity. And despite some tone-deaf missteps at a ribbon cutting for a women's shelter, because that swag bag was ridiculous. Even for a regular event, that swag bag was ridiculous.
My question is, you don't remember not having money? Like,
not this far in. If the Kardashians, if Kris Jenner at this point in her life somehow forgets what it's like to go to a grocery store and makes that an entire storyline of an episode, I'm gonna say
watch anymore, Ashley.
I didn't. This was clips that I saw on these internets. Then there's no hope for Molly, who's been deep in this game now for a long time. Nicholas picks out her clothes for her every day, basically. Like, she has a hairstylist. She has someone who puts on her lip gloss. So she takes multiple baths a day. I mean, there's just so many things, right?
So many.
So at this point, no, I don't think she probably remembers, but she takes it in stride and she decides to join the team. Molly really upsets me in this first episode, though, because, again, talking about the personal chef thing, the fact that she had this man microwave her that bean and cheese burrito showed it. On the one hand, it showed that as we just talked about, she still is a little bit in touch, that she still has this callback to, like, even though I have all this opulence around me, I just want a burrito. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you have a man who is a really big restaurateur, yes, working for you as your personal chef, and you have him go heat you up a burrito in the microwave.
The only thing I have really written for episode 1 was that Molly was woefully out of touch.
She was searching.
Painful.
This first episode should be called like searching or something. She's searching here.
But the jokes are just so funny, because naming the dogs Mary Kate and Ashley.
Yes.
And then saving a bottle of champagne in case Jennifer Anderson and
Brad Pitt get back together.
When I heard that, I literally had to rewind it because I was like, did they say Jennifer Lopez and Ben? Because I'm like, wouldn't that have been epic? But yeah, it tickled me.
I don't know why they would want them to get back together. Jennifer Aniston better never, in my opinion, re-ride that wave. But let's move on.
She might ride it, but just in secret. No relationship.
He doesn't deserve the water. He doesn't deserve it. Let's move on. Episode 2, Molly attempts to take the team to Miami, disguised as a work retreat. It was more like a kidnapping to attend a friend's fragrance launch party. The team went back home, disappointed that Molly lied to them after a storm derailed their flight. The fragrance ended up smelling like shit. And
not surprising.
And Molly came through with a mea culpa and helped with a meeting for a proposed housing development. Would you let your boss kidnap you for an impromptu trip to Miami?
It just really depends on where we're going.
What you just would need more detail?
Yeah, if I'm going to be fed well at a really nice restaurant and I'm going to be up in a hotel, a nice one, maybe.
You had me at private plane. Yes, I'm hopping on this plane. I'm assuming everything's going to be taken care of. Absolutely, I'm down. Like, there's probably be little to no questions asked from me. But that's if my boss was Molly. I'm not talking about hopping on a private plane with some random person.
And yes.
Be careful. But in this case, yeah, I would have been down for it. Episode 3, John does a ridiculous interview with Haley, insulting Molly's abilities. Side note, how dare they try to utilize Oprah's outdoor backdrop?
When I tell you, I felt offended. Because again, I am team success, okay? And they were trying to tell their truth. This man, I don't know what the purpose of this interview was. But how dare they?
Trying to rehab that image because he was unfaithful. So I'm sure in the public eye, it was not playing well for him, the same as it wasn't with Bezos.
With the little kid right next to him.
With the preschooler.
Well, I will also say it's interesting because Bezos didn't do the typical rich man thing and get someone way younger. He just got a plastic version of someone. I think they're not far in age or anything like that.
Yeah, I can't even remember. What's funny about this sort of thing is these type of people aren't celebrities to me. Like, I don't care who Elon Musk is sleeping with. I don't care who Jeff Bezos is sleeping with.
He's a hoe because he's out here having all types of babies, and so is his daddy.
But I was gonna say it's the daddy for me. Elon's daddy. Didn't Elon's daddy have a baby with his Elon's stepsister
or something? Yes.
So he was married to the mama and then had a baby with her child, right?
Something confusing like that.
Ooh, Lord Jesus. Anyway, Molly agrees in return to do a bunch of interviews herself, but decides to do the hot ones, which you saw this clip before you even watched the show. She thought this was going to be more her style than Anderson Cooper or 60 Minutes, but she didn't know clearly what she was getting into. I don't know how the host did this segment with a straight face.
This was my favorite part of the entire show.
It was not her finest hour whatsoever, but it seems like a lot of people related to this being the way people should react when they do hot ones. I've never watched the show.
It is one of my favorite YouTube interviews. Like, for example, Abbott Elementary came out today and they literally all posted with like Elle and Entertainment Weekly, and Hot Ones is one of those main places, that the PR machine like to utilize. Some of my favorite episodes, Queen Latifah, she made some of the funniest faces, but she was the most contained. Idris Elba, that famous cough. Coughing. Paul Rudd, he also famous meme of like, look at us now, we're doing it. Like,
I've seen that one.
So many iconic moments, and it is so funny. I love it.
We see some bonding in this episode. We see some thawing in the relationship between Sophia and Molly, as Sophia kind of tried to help her prep, gives her a pep talk. And then we also see bonding between Howard, who's a coworker in the office, and Nicholas over Howard's relationship issues.
Yes.
So in episode 4, Molly reevaluates her business assets from her divorce after a roller coaster malfunction at a poorly maintained theme park she didn't realize she owned in the Philippines. She takes Arthur, who is the accountant of the office, essentially, along with her. She even helps him pick up his daughter with a ride to her soccer game in her helicopter. Pap snaps some photos thinking they were booed up. Molly shoots that down real quick when they get back to the office. What did you think of the Arthur and Molly will they, won't they energy?
I think it was pretty genuine and pretty obvious. Was I overly excited about it? Not necessarily, because they really played him up as being a dork, essentially.
Molly has a type. I feel like
I was just
what it
took the words right out of my mouth, because obviously her computer genius husband or ex-husband obviously probably shared some of those same dorky traits, assuming, of course. But yeah, it was sweet.
It was sweet. And even though Molly downplayed their relationship, she bought him that painting, that bird painting that he liked, and he agonized over, am I keeping this? Am I leaving it outside? My guy threw it in the trash for a minute.
Not him throwing it away, though.
Because how much did that cost? You know?
The fact that she has a wing in a museum full of pieces that she owns, like, let that process, actually.
Let that marinate. By the way, I loved his interpretation of his love for birds. I also love birds, like in terms of like a spirit animal. Like I always say, if I could be an animal, I'd be a bird, because there's such a freedom. And so his analogy about them being fleeting beauty really like struck me in that episode. I was like, yo, that's deep.
Wow. Yeah, that is deep. I appreciate it.
Never thought about it like that. So I was digging Arthur a little bit. He wouldn't be a love connection for me, but I was digging his energy. Meanwhile, Nicholas, genuine. He was sweet. Meanwhile, Nicholas is an actor, honey. He said, I am more than just an assistant. He out here snagging roles and plays, doing his thing. That Axe body spray commercial was hilarious.
Hilarious.
But no matter what other interests he pursues, in my mind, I'm like, he ain't leaving Molly anytime soon. I bet that gig is well paid.
Ashley, I had this epiphany in my late 20s, early 30s of like, I don't need the boat. I need to be friends with the person who owns the boat.
That part. I don't need that lease.
I don't need that maintenance. The fuel, the staff. No, I need to be invited.
Nicholas is living his best life. That's why he was the most devastated by this turn of events.
I'm surprised he eventually thrived, because when I tell you that transition, getting up early, showing up, being in the same place all day, that first episode when they were looking at the time, she was like, I have to be here until 6? Like, welcome, sis.
Molly, the fact that you would choose to work a desk job is insanity. It's the life that we are all trying to escape, and yet it is the life in which you're trying to find your purpose. It's amazing, right? But Nicholas was, while he enjoyed the perks, Nicholas was good at his job at the same time.
I'm glad that they showed that, because in one of my favorite books, and is also favored by rappers and inmates, the 48 Laws of Power.
Way to throw that in there.
Well, if I Googled it when I fell in love with the book, and I saw that and I started rolling. In the 48 Laws of Power, one of them is making it look easy when it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And he obviously has this, free spirit. She partied with him around the world, right? He makes it look easy, but he gets
Living
up
his
at
best life.
the crack of dawn and just tells her, "Oh, I just got here." But he was thorough.
Yes.
He was, I mean, the attention to detail, bravo, bravo.
But you know, we talk about bosses. We talk about them on multiple variations
Yes.
of different, shows. We just talked about it with our Devil Wears Prada recap. Molly
Yeah.
is a great boss
Yeah.
because she's gracious. She's never demanding that we've seen. She cares about Nicholas as a
Yes.
person. She's supportive. Like, she's a great boss.
That's a great point. Yeah, even if because most of her gaffes was all on her.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't necessarily, on him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good point.
Living the good life. Living it, Nicholas. All right, episode 5. We're halfway through. Molly takes a few of the ladies on the team, Sophia, Rhonda, and Ainsley. This was our dream episode for a mental health day.
This is our retreat next year. We're going somewhere. We're doing something.
What's it called? Hooza, whatever it's called. We got to find this way.
That, or we need to go to Arizona because apparently they have some of the best spas in the world too.
In Scottsdale.
Yes.
Or Sedona. I'm glad they had this mental health day though, because Sophia was stressing me out. I'm like, you're going to die of a heart attack very early if you don't get your stress level under control.
It was a lot.
She took them to her favorite spa that had a 5-year wait list. Have you done a full spa day yet? Because I haven't, and I need to.
I'm so glad that you asked me because I've had 2 spa services in the last 2 weeks. So I got my facial, and on Monday I had a 90-minute deep tissue massage.
But I'm talking, have you ever done a full day of spa services?
Yes. But I had to split it up this time because I was trying to do it all at once, but the way my schedule is set up, but absolutely.
I've got to do that.
Deep tissue, mani-pedi. Yes, please.
I'm going to do that for myself this year. Before this year is out, I'm making a commitment. Y'all are hearing it on the mic. And anybody who's with me, self-care before the end of this year, we doing a full spa day, baby.
And we do understand that you can absolutely do self-care without having to spend money. But when I tell you, after getting that 90-minute deep tissue massage, I was like, why haven't I been here sooner?
I do self-care for free all the time. I want to be pampered.
I want to be pampered too.
Yeah. I want all the things. So
and with my face, I was like, my skin feels so good. I was like, duh, of course it does.
Just had a full facial. Yeah, I'm putting that on the list. You guys, anybody out there who wants to join me, feel free. Unfortunately, though, their bliss was interrupted by a run-in with Molly's alleged, I put that in quotes, alleged friends who did not invite her on their annual wives trip. John's mistress went, though. I'm going to start calling her Camilla for the sake of this podcast. After Molly kicked one of their clothes in the hot tub, her membership was rescinded. No negative vibes. Would you have felt some type of way if these friends of yours had invited the mistress on the annual trip that you've been going to for probably 20 years?
These hoes ain't loyal.
Girl.
I don't enjoy calling women hoes, but if you get it, you get it. What I'm trying to say is this. Molly knew that they weren't her real friends, and I feel like this was the nail in the coffin.
Because she even says, like, I don't even like old girl like that, but I've been part of their world for so long. And
again, I don't know if I say this sentiment enough on the podcast, but I feel like because you know me, the whole idea of being a part of a friends group based off of your relationship status, it just seems odd to me.
Yeah.
Also,
in this case, it's probably hard though, because I think she did get so ingrained into the pomp and circumstance of this lifestyle.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she also did not fight hard enough, as we're going to see, to maintain her relationships, even within her own family. So, and we're going to get to that. That's on Molly. Howard and Nicholas attempt to help Arthur get back in the dating game on the apps with a lot of lies, but he meets a new boo at the bar on his own. Had Molly feeling some type of way. Again, leading into the will they, won't they.
But that woman was a catch.
Chelsea? Yeah. I was team Chelsea. I like Chelsea.
Absolutely. Same.
And I'm still a fan of the in-person natural chemistry. Nothing can compare. Episode 6, the team gave 150 local nonprofits in LA surprise donations. I loved that. Landed Molly and Company an invite to the Philanthropic Humanitarian Awards, or the Mannies, where Molly was being honored. But guess what? John decides to be a little bitch, as Delora said, and rain on her parade. Pops his ass up at this event with Haley in tow, of course, to try and throw Molly off her game. It worked for a minute. He did pacify her with an apology, only to slap her in the face with the news that he made calls to get her this award. Did you believe him, or did you think he was just saying all of this to just be petty and to get under her skin?
First of all, I was upset at her for wasting her time with him before receiving that award. Obviously, what ended up happening was great for moving the story forward or what have you, but I would have definitely recommend not wasting any time, especially before such a special moment in her life. Like, this is, one of the overarching themes in the story is finding yourself, finding your purpose, taking up space. Don't shrink yourself in order for your man to thrive. You know what I mean? Because she up until this point didn't even consider holding down that freaking house for 2 years as helping him build his wealth. Because again, I'm rooter first wives. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
I was in the trenches. Nothing. Yes,
exactly.
I helped pay for you to go to school, or I paid the mortgage until you were able to get your stuff together. All of that. Absolutely. I built the infrastructure with you, baby.
Girl. And so
I wish we had a better idea of how much time had passed, though, because to your point, I wondered why in this episode we saw Molly hop, skip, and jump so fast to go meet up with him. But at the same time, I was like, well, she's exercised such restraint up to this point with like being in touch with him. And it's hard. She still loved him. Like, regardless of the shenanigans, you don't just fall out of love with somebody. She wanted to work on their marriage before this blew up in her face. Like, that love doesn't just die overnight.
Agreed. But when he brought up the fact that he got her that award, I did not believe him 100%. It was kind of like 50-50 for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, he probably could have, or yeah, he's saying this just to ruin your night because he's a petty bitch. So
I'm thinking it's the latter. Like, I personally, I think it's totally the latter. Yeah.
He's jealous. He was losing the war on the court of public opinion, right?
And I also think he just didn't think she was going to bounce back so quickly from probably the situation that she found herself in, which is she hadn't been working throughout their marriage. She probably thought she was going to languish, or she was just going to, just enjoy her life, just spending money and never doing anything with herself. And she's out here doing the damn thing and making headlines. Yes. So, and he strikes me, once a lot of men have that ego and that level of life, he strikes me as definitely one of those, which, to Adam Scott's credit, when he plays a good guy, I'm with him. I believe it. And when he plays a bad guy, I hate him. So like, he toes that line.
Good guy.
Oh, he's played nice. He's played nicer, lovable characters in other movies.
When I see him,
other projects, rather,
I feel like he has made his career on being an asshole. Like, one of the most memorable.
Are you thinking of Step Brothers?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He was the worst in Step Brothers, the worst. But no, he's played. There have been other projects I've seen him in where he can even. I haven't finished Severance, but he's a different type of guy in Severance, which is on Apple TV Plus than he has been in a lot of other things as well. If you guys aren't aware of Severance, it's a very interesting premise. Check it out. All right, episode 7. Molly gets an invite to dinner by fellow billionaire businessman and philanthropist Jean Pierre, Halle Berry's ex, if some of you aren't aware, who she met at the award ceremony. A perk of money. Racks of clothes are brought in to help Molly figure out what she's going to wear for this maybe date. We don't know. Just when we thought it was nothing but business, straight out of a Disney film, Jean-Pierre rides up on a horse and stops Molly from leaving with a passionate kiss. What'd you think about Jean-Pierre in this episode?
I enjoyed him more on the meet cute than I did during that lunch because there were too many mixed messages.
So many mixed signals.
And I'm like, you either want this or not, sir. And
he said rolling. He felt confused as well. So he was just trying to figure it out.
She had me cracking up with that scarf. He was like, your scarf fell. Leave it there.
Leave it. I love that was her layers. Because remember, Arthur gave her the tip about layers, and her layer is the scarf. When I take it off, I'm ready and I'm open and I'm available and I'm sexy. When I put it on, I'm reserved. Thought that was so cute. Howard invited Nicholas to dinner at the Cheesecake Factory to meet his girlfriend, Tanya. Here's where my minus comes from and my A minus, kids. Nicholas is told while Howard was in the bathroom that Tanya never plans to marry Howard despite their 8-year relationship. She was verbally abusive to Howard throughout the initial meet of this dinner. Howard's reaction, though, to Nicholas telling him this news was anger and rejection. Delora.
She straight up lied.
What'd you think of Tanya? And what did you think of this situation in Nicholas and Howard's budding friendship?
So when I first saw her, obviously they were in an argument and I felt like they were just having a lover's spat, frankly. Like
in the middle of the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah. In front of guests too, right?
In front of company.
But she was really upset, and based off of Howard's character, it didn't really say much to me initially. What broke the camel's back is when Nicholas was really trying to speak up for his friend, and she straight up lied about what she said. And I'm like, what is your motivation? All I have in my notes is, Tanya, really?
Let that man go.
If you don't want him, let him go. So
she said, and give and take a Lyft or Uber to the airport, something like that. She said, like, she was literally just trying to use Howard. He had absolutely no idea.
Also, 8 years is a long time.
It's a very long time to just be fucking around.
Wait. To be like unclear on what we're doing here.
And that's to say, I understand that you can be in a very healthy, happy relationship for 8 years without needing to go into marriage, but their priorities, they were on two very different pages. Howard absolutely thought that this was going to be the woman he married. That's why it's problematic.
Yep.
Episode 8, Molly and Jean-Pierre are officially booed up, booed up, meeting up internationally and twinning with their private planes. After Jean-Pierre mentions wanting to meet her fam, Molly decides to go with Howard to a family space night. Maya Rudolph has never been blacker. Molly had thawed the ice. Seriously. Molly had thawed the ice with her cousin Renee, whose wedding she missed, until she flaunted her money, as Renee put it, by replacing her old game table. After a heart-to-heart, they patched things up, but it sounds like things had been rocky with John for quite a while, and Molly had just kind of chosen to ignore it, essentially, because the reason why Molly did not come to Renee's wedding is because she had found messages from another woman on John's tablet.
Yes.
And he tried to dismiss it away.
Yes. I thought you were talking about Olivier's character. Sorry.
No. John, not Jean. We also get a glimpse into Sophia's love life with a love triangle that plays out in The Office. Were you as intrigued by her love life as Nicholas and Arthur were?
Oh man, that was truly, truly funny to me. It is fascinating when you find out that she got flowers from one dude and a completely different dude shows up to the office. Like really? Like, yo, like this is insane. And then I don't even know if I would expect it from her in some ways. Like, you got time to be juggling men?
That's the thing. As dedicated as she seems like she's been to work, even sleeping there and wearing the same suit 2 days in a row, I don't know how she's juggling two dudes, but it was a telenovela, that's for damn sure. Even old dude coming in and they're going at it in Spanish, and you got Arthur over here trying to translate, talking about mi corazon, and it was fascinating, but I still was not quite as invested as they were, because I don't know what it is about Sophia, but she's not an exciting character to me. She's very good at her job, but it's not like I'm fine if I don't know anything else about her, I guess. Like, I don't need more.
I think when it comes to Sophia, I think what they were trying to do is like, yes, she seems like the straight lace character, super serious. And then you have the Molly who is just all hugs and you get a car, you get a car. But there were moments throughout the series where Sophia did things that were surprising, like we just mentioned two lovers. And then there's something else that happens later on that's also a lot of fun with who she is as a person. I will say the funniest joke out of this episode is when Sophia opens up to Nicholas and Arthur about her relationship. And she was like, yeah, he organized my pantry, my pantry. And he was like, oh, is it is it based off function or color? Oh, the alphabet. That tickled me so much because I am a pantry organizer.
Well, I love the home edit. So that's what I thought of immediately. I thought of Khloe Kardashian, to be completely honest. That's who I thought of, because her pantry is immaculate.
And for those who are wondering, it's based off function. Thank you.
So let's wrap up with episodes 9 and 10, and then we can give some overarching thoughts and predictions. Episodes 9 and 10. The Alameda Street housing project Sophia has been pouring her love and sweat and tears into throughout this season finally gets approved by the city council, but a public meeting was not very friendly. Delora, they had pies thrown on them. This made me think of Glee. Which is worse, being pied or slushied?
Definitely slushy.
Absolutely.
Want to get it up the nose. Yeah.
I was like, it could be worse, because the slushies is cold, it's wet, it's like so many things. Like with a pie, you can kind of like wipe that off and go on about your day. With a slushie, you got to change. There's no question. Howard thankfully breaks up with Tanya because he's trying to support Nicholas as he's going through his journey on this stage play, and she is verbally eviscerating him. Like, again, really did not like this portrayal of Tanya whatsoever. Molly joins Jean-Pierre on a collaboration for the Silver Moon Summit to present a $3 billion water filtration machine that does not go as planned. She drank poop water. Sophia had tried to warn her. Who tested this machine before she hit this stage? And would you have drank this water?
No, I would not have drank that water. But the fact that she took the sip and then kept drinking, I'm like, sis, no one asked you to do that.
We all see that the water is brown. There's nothing to prove.
I was screaming at the TV when she was drinking that water.
She would have been hospitalized. Like, there's no way in my mind that she bounced back that quick from drinking whatever sewage and feces that they had put into to test that machine. It was gross.
Ooh.
Molly ends up breaking up with Jean-Pierre, who decides to flee from the controversy. Lacked that integrity, didn't he? While Molly faces up to the disaster after a chat with Sophia, who rejects her resignation from the foundation, which was interesting because, again, they had bonded throughout the season, but up until this point, I feel like Sophia was always okay with Molly leaving. She was always okay with Molly stepping away and allowing her to kind of steer the ship again as she saw fit. But Molly has really come through because people still like Molly, the celebrity that surrounds her, all of that. So she's been helpful in getting things done at the end of the day. Yes.
I think what it ultimately shows with those two and their dynamics is, Sophia is definitely the administrative one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Molly has all the soft skills, all the charisma, and
she's a people person,
a way to engage people, and she's genuinely likable. So, and you know, I think it was important for her to realize that she had those strengths, right? Like, not everyone does, and they're valuable.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what Steve Jobs was a salesman at the end of the day. He
Yeah.
sold his ideas, right? Even if he was not always the one creating and doing all these things, he relied on other people for that, but he was the salesman. So, absolutely. Molly also decides that she's going to give away all of her money, all 120 billion at this point. Yeah, she had 87 billion, but her money made money, as we talked about as we first started this recap. What do you think about this pledge to give away everything?
So, like, I don't know if it's American capitalism that has me saying, like, all of it.
In my notes, I say literally all my money would be a stretch. The cost of healthcare alone in this country is atrocious. I couldn't.
Like, all of it.
No, I'm keeping some millions. I may not keep billions, but I'm definitely keeping some millions. You see, a lot of the people of that stature, they've pledged to give away all of their wealth upon death.
Upon death.
Upon death.
And I was going to say over a stretch of so many years as well. Yeah, no, I would not give all. And this is me being realistic. Now, will I give a lot? Oh, sure, no problem.
Even Mackenzie Bezos, who, again, we've talked about, this is loosely based off of, has given away billions of dollars, but has she given away all of her money? No. Because at the same time, what are you going to live off of? Are you really going to go live with Howard? Like, no, we as working people,
yes,
do not give away all of our money. You have to sustain and provide for yourself.
Exactly.
So the idea of giving away all of it, yeah, that was a stretch for me. I appreciate the sentiment, though. I appreciate the call to arms for other insanely rich people out there, but it was a stretch. We end the season with Molly waking up in bed with John. WTF. We thought Arthur, as an audience, we thought Arthur was going to declare his love, because he had declared his love to Howard and Nicholas previously and said, Molly, I want Molly. I'm in love. Final thoughts and any predictions for season 2?
Again, I yelled at the TV, boo, when we saw her wake up in bed with her ex-husband. I'm like, Molly, I need for you to, where's the backbone, sis? Where? And, she really bothered me throughout the season because again, this is a not coming to age, but coming to self type of story of who am I in this world? What is my purpose outside of being in the shadow of this powerful, wealthy man? And the fact that she literally, I put in my notes, old habits die hard, when she literally started doing that with her French bae, and again, unreliable, just like her first husband. How about that? But it was a lot of fun, this series. Like, so many cute jokes throughout. It actually reminded me a little bit of Mindy Kaling because they were so pop culture driven. One of them was like how Howard didn't know who Ray Romano was. Like, Black people don't know who Ray Romano was.
No, but I loved that, though, because I was like, y'all assume we know all of y'all pop culture figures. Yes, I watched Everybody Loves Raymond, but doesn't mean every Black person has seen that show.
Nicholas saying, oh, it's Asian beautiful and a little bit toxic, just like me. Can we shout out Nicholas, though, with him crying in his play? That was a beautiful moment. And I appreciate overall this workplace comedy where everybody ultimately comes together. They have their own quirks and their own personalities, but they gel so well together. Like, the fact that, what was the name of the older woman?
Rhonda
and her horniness was hilarious.
Didn't bring a bathing suit to Corsica. She lives her best life.
We Netflixed and chilled, and then we had sex.
It was already implied, Rhonda. Ainsley, though, they play Ainsley to no end.
so much. She was like, well, that's the day of my wedding, but I'll move it around.
They didn't even acknowledge when she announced her engagement. When she put up a photo of her family, she said, I'm sorry, everybody's so white. They were like, yeah. They played the mess out of Ainsley. So it was definitely some funny bits.
My favorite one and last one, she was like, if you're going to be problematic, you need to get the geography right.
Thank you for that. My final thoughts again, enjoyed this series. If they had thrown Tanya away, it would have been A for me. For season 2, I'm going to give Molly this one backslide because, you know, it happens to the best of us. We're human, but you get one with John. Unless John somehow changes his spots, not his colors, his spots, and becomes a different human being and has a whole facelift and dumps Haley and goes on an apology tour that lasts a year or two to win you back. There's no way that we're moving on from this. I hope that you do what's in your own best interest. I hope you continue to move forward in ways that fulfill you, because I'm here for this journey for Molly. I think it's a beautiful thing that she is able to find her purpose, you know, because money, a lot of people think money is going to buy that, but it does not, right? You have to still find that purpose within yourself. So I thought that was a great message. All right, Delora, that's it for our recap of Loot. Guys, we appreciate you for listening and sticking with us. Give us any feedback you have on this show. You know where to reach us. All the things, email, Instagram, Twitter. We're on the Facebook too, the YouTube as well. All right, Hidden Gems, Delora, what you got for the people this week?
All right, Ashley, I have 2 hidden gems this week. The first, now, is this movie like the best movie ever? No, but it was interesting. I'm referring to the live action Pinocchio, available on Disney Plus. It came out earlier this month. The ending was something, I will say that. But what I did appreciate about it was Tom Hanks as Geppetto. I mean, MVP. I love Tom Hanks. And Cynthia Erivo as the Blue Fairy. That woman can sing, okay? She can sing. And I didn't realize how much I liked that song until she sang, you know, When You Wish Upon a Star. I think it's interesting.
She gave it that blackness.
Exactly. And there was a moment within the live action where Pinocchio is, you know, kidnapped and on that stage play, but there's the girl puppet as well. And she has this new song in it that's fire. And I was very impressed by it. But I think it's worth mentioning, like, if you have a kid who's not attached to the first story, something to watch, family friendly. Is it the best one ever? It's not, because the ending, again, it's interpretive, and I'm just like, I guess, but it's worth mentioning. They tried. When it comes to these live actions, I know we talked about this previously. Like, I think my favorite one, my top 3 live actions would be Jungle Book, which was beautifully stunning, Aladdin, because Will Smith really made Genie his own, and Cruella, even though it's technically not live action, but it kind of is. I think their interpretation of that was well done. This Pinocchio story is not nowhere near the top by any chance, but I think it's something to watch. It's a fun, family-friendly show to watch. All right, my second hidden gem is a song. It's called Pretty Brown Skin. One of my dear friends posted this on her Instagram stories one day, and I was immediately drawn in. It's by an artist named Eugene King. It came out in 2020. And here are some of the lyrics that I sing every morning to my little girl when we get ready for school. It goes, pretty brown skin, pretty light skin, pretty dark skin. I see African written in your DNA. Hello, chocolate melanin from the motherland. With your black skin, never should you want it any other way. It is such a affirmation of a song, embracing all things that, you know, beauty, Black culture, pride, love. Another lyric that says, You so pretty for a Black girl is not a compliment. Don't whitewash who you are to be an option. I'm like, oh, it's beautiful. So
Beyonce go with that remix soon.
what's your hidden gems, Ashley?
All right, I have two as well. My first one is not hidden because it's definitely been like number one in the movies on Netflix for the weekend, at least. Do Revenge. Knew I was going to love this movie, and I did. Teen comedy starring Camila Mendez and Maya Hawke, inspired by Alfred Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train. A dethroned Queen Bee in an elite private high school joins forces with a new student to get revenge on each other's enemies. It was so nice. I watched it twice. Austin Abrams. Like I said about Adam Scott, he's a nice guy, and I like him when he is, and when he's an asshole, I hate his guts, because he was nice in Euphoria. I felt for Ethan, and in this movie, I absolutely hate him. But overall, I thought it was well done. Sarah Michelle Gellar makes an appearance in this, which was such a nod and throwback to our teen years, from Cruel Intentions to I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I just enjoyed the ride. So my first one, Do Revenge, Netflix. My second one is a podcast, The TV Doctor, hosted by a friend of mine that I met at the Black Podcast Festival, M. Foss. In the show, she provides television prescriptions to help cure whatever is ailing you. She is a PhD doctor, not a medical doctor, but she is a college professor, and I love the premise of her show. I believe she has 2 episodes out for her season 4, and I have really enjoyed them. So that is the TV Doctor podcast, available on all the things. We may be chatting with her soon on our podcast as well. So stay tuned for that, guys. But that's all we got for you this week. Again, thank you so much for rocking with us. We'll be back with a new episode on Thursday. Delora, always a pleasure, my friend.
Yes, ma'am.
Guys, we'll see you next time.
Bye.